34 leaders in the government, military, and intelligence communities are featured in a new documentary on unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, also known as UFOs. This includes Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
They have both deactivated and activated nuclear weapons with both the United States and Russia.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
The UAP activity surrounding nuclear weapons is not a historic issue. It's an ongoing issue.
The film The Age of Disclosure dives into the existence of non-human intelligent life, what these leaders know, and the stakes for the future of humanity. It's now streaming on Amazon Prime. Let's bring in Dan Farah, the director and producer of The Age of Disclosure. Dan, first of all, let's set this up. What is this movie about? What was your mission with this documentary?
Well, thank you for having me. So, like a lot of people around the world, I grew up curious about this topic, these big questions like, are we alone in the universe? Does the U.S. government know more about this matter than the public? And so I made this film in pursuit of the truth, and I interviewed 34 extremely high-level military, government, and intelligence officials who have direct knowledge of UAP as a result of the work for the government. And what they collectively revealed is an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life, and the fact that the U.S. is in a high-stakes secret Cold War race with adversarial nations to collect and reverse engineer this technology of non-human origin. And the truth is really shocking.
What stood out to me, there's a lot of things that stood out to me that were pretty shocking. The amount of lawmakers, credible lawmakers, military members that were willing to open up to you over this 3-year period. How did you convince them all to go on the record and talk to you about what they knew?
Well, when I was doing my research and I was getting introduced to senior officials and having private conversations with them and learning the lay of the land, I started to quickly realize that there is, in fact, a lot of information these people have that can lawfully be disclosed, but historically they've been deterred from sharing that information. And what has caused them to avoid it is the cultural stigma in our country, the fear of being ridiculed or made fun of for talking about, UFOs and non-human intelligent life. On top of that, there is a group of people inside of the government and intelligence community who have kept this secret for 80 years, and they've made it clear that if you poke your head up and talk about this and tell the public, you'll have your reputation ruined, you'll have your career ruined, and then there's always a lot of physical threats that have been given to people to keep them silent. And so what I said to these potential interview subjects is, what if I create a safe platform for you to speak up? What if I interview dozens of military, government, intelligence officials who have direct knowledge of this as a result of working for the government, and you guys are all arm in arm, and you have safety in numbers, and you're collectively stepping up and sharing what you lawfully can with the public? Would that be a different scenario for you? And the answer collectively was yes. They all felt comfortable with that. And I made the movie in secrecy for several years. I didn't socialize outside of the interview subjects who was going to be in it. I told them so they could feel comfortable knowing who they were going to be intercut with and arm in arm with. Mm-hmm. We kept it under wraps. And I think this is the only way these people ever would have spoken up and shared their truths.
Now, as you mentioned, some of the officials in this movie claim that we are in this high-stakes secret arms race with both China and Russia over the retrieval of these UAPs. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, some of the officials I interviewed refer to it as the Manhattan Project on steroids because the stakes are so high. We know the intentions of adversarial nations like China are not good, and so it's critical that the U.S. lead in this technology race and come to understand this technology and how to use it before any adversaries do and before it is used for evil, essentially, for war, as opposed to the betterment of mankind.
Now, one of the officials in this film also alleges that President George H.W. Bush actually knew of contact between the military and non-human life from an Air Force base. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, one of the intelligence officials in the film goes on the record about a conversation he had directly with President Bush about a encounter that occurred between Air Force and CIA officials and non-human intelligent life. There's a number of interview subjects in my film who reveal what past presidents have found out. So another big reveal is that Bush too contemplated going public shortly after 9/11, actually, about the fact that he had learned humanity is not alone in the universe, those base facts. And he contemplated it and decided ultimately it was better not to reveal that. Another interview subject reveals that President Trump almost revealed this base fact in his first administration. And to the extent that Steve Mnuchin, then Secretary of Treasury, asked the head of the U.S. government's UAP task force for a briefing and told him he was asking for that briefing so that he could assess what the economic impact would be if the president chose to go to the microphone and tell the world we're not alone. So it's been contemplated in the past by past presidents when they find out the base facts. They've contemplated telling the public that, and then they've been deterred from doing so. I think now this movie sets the stage for a sitting president to comfortably step to the microphone and tell the world the truth, that we are not the only intelligent life in the universe, and that the U.S. intends to lead the way in this new chapter.
See what happens. Dan Farah, thank you so much. Congratulations on this movie.
Thank you.